I've had the outrage from the Jewish community after a joke I told in Melbourne. It wasn't even about.
Your response to that was the greatest one that I have ever seen.
Thank you.
It's like, what was it? If you can't take the heat, get out of the oven.
I can't remember what I said.
That was a hanger. See, I was sitting there after what happened to me. My balls were cut off, and I was dead timid. I was dead shy. See, when I seen you do that, I was sitting watching it, going, "Fuck, that's what I should have done."
See, I'm from a place in Australia called Newcastle, and man, there is no Jewish people here. I have no hate for Jewish people. It doesn't exist. I don't know any of them. I know one, and he rang me up after it and said, "Don't worry about it. It's fine." Like, it was just, it was a joke about vegans, and then the staying the heat in the oven stuff, which is actually in my next special that's coming out. That actually was rejected by a large. That was passed on by a large streaming service because it was too offensive for the current climate. So, whatever. But yeah, no, that was certainly an interesting time because they came in hard. Thank you very much. Second beer, hooray! Thank you, Al. And yeah, so that was an interesting moment for me because all of these and obviously nothing like yours, but all of these newspapers are hitting me up saying, you need to comment on this by 2:00 or we're running the store. I was like, no, you don't dictate the terms. All right. I'll release the video and that's when the fucking story is told. You know, you can say whatever you want because the thing that I found hilarious about it was the person who reported on it the first time was the crime reporter for the Herald Sun in Melbourne. Like, the fucking crime reporter was reporting on a joke. And this isn't, it isn't just you or myself. There's another dude in Canada who told a joke, I think, about an autistic lesbian or something, and he ended up paying $80,000, or he's got to pay $80,000, something crazy.
Is that Mike Ward in Canada?
Yes.
Is that him? Yeah, I know that story. That's
crazy.
He like, I get fined. Ultimately, when I got found guilty, I get fined £800. And I'm sitting there going, it's a travesty. It's absolutely terrible. Man's getting fined like 130,000 Canadian dollars. And I was just sitting there quiet, like, yes. My case kind of looks a little bit shit. I mean, $800, that's about £800, that's a month's wages. That man's facing absolute financial ruin. Like, fucking Jesus.
Will ruin his kids and his grandkids. But like, it's one of those, it's this whole, like, I go to comedy shows. When I was younger, I went to comedy shows or I listened to comedians who I knew would offend me because that's what I wanted. I wanted to be shocked. I wanted to listen to Jim Jeffries and go, holy fuck, I can't believe he said that. Like, that's hilarious or whatever. And that's how I try and write my stand-up is like, you got your jokes about, sexual past or whatever, but I try and really throw things in there where I direct people down a certain way and then, bam, hit them with something that just fucking blows their mind. Like, I can't believe he just said that. And that's what I enjoy. But you look at the American market, and the American market is what we all base, the comedy scenes in Australia and off. That is, unfortunately, it's being nuked at the moment. And comic after comic, look at Jim Jeffries, he got paid big cash and he sold out. I'd sell out too. I don't blame him. And he just has, I would, fucking oath, pay me if NBC comes out and gives me $100 million tomorrow, I'll become a vegan. I don't give a fuck. So it's one of those things where, everyone's got their price, but, thankfully with Joe Rogan, there is still this ability for people to express themselves, in a long form conversation and to promote their own comedy. People like Andrew Schultz, he's really pushing it over there in the States at the moment as well. But, there's a lot of other guys, but in Australia, I don't know what the comedy scene's like over in the UK, but in Australia, man, there is probably 2 or 3 offensive comics, and I'm one of them. Like, that just doesn't exist.
Well, in Scotland, the comedy scene is just overwhelmingly, dramatically left-wing, massively left-wing. It's just a case of, in fact, you were trying to do a show here as well, weren't you? And you were struggling to find a venue. Like, that's how it is, basically, though. It used to be a case of, like, everyone used to just go, like, we don't care about the comedian's offensive or the content or anything like that. Basically, comedy clubs want to make money, so their number one question was, is he good?
Yeah.
Is he a good comedian? And that was it. That's all they needed. It's a case of, we'll bring him in, that leave it up to the audience to decide, because that's the point of comedy. The audience decides whether or not you are funny. Like each individual in the audience gets to decide. But now you're getting these comedy clubs that are up here like, is that a tweet talking about trans people from 2011? Oh, no, we can't.
I think
that's his career over.
It was in Glasgow, right? And the Rotunda Comedy Club, and the dude emailed back to my management and was just like, "We are not having Butterfield here. He's a piece of shit. He's this, he's that. He's not what we want at our venue," and all that type of stuff. So we ended up doing it at some fucking cabaret or burlesque bar in the streets of Glasgow somewhere. We had like 300 people there. It was a fucking great show. And I filmed a video. I can't remember the dude's name from the Rotunda Club, and he was fuck him. But we all filmed a video of everyone on stage saying whatever his name was, "Hope so and so gets cancer," and that was the big video. Because fuck that guy. Like, man, the whole thing was he was a cyclist, and I made fun of him. That was it. Yeah. That was literally it. Like, and I loved the Scottish crowds, and in the UK, it was fucking awesome. Like, the Edinburgh was my favorite town I visited over in Europe. I just loved it. Glasgow was raining. That gave me the shits because I got wet from the train station to my hotel because it was too close to get an Uber, but too far to walk, and we just got fucking soaked. So I had the shits with Glasgow straight off the bat. But the pubs and shit, man, there, it's a perfect place. But it's such a shame, like, with the Scottish sense of humour, it's such a shame that is how the comedy scene's going.